I'm telling you, technology be driving me crazy. I'm going to have to talk really quiet and look very yellow due to the light. So I'm going to change that. And I'll just wait for people to connect. Okay, this morning, Perth WA time, tried to do a reading, which I'm still going to leave it up because I want that information to stay there for you guys, but I have pulled more cards to delve deeper. And I also have some messages that I want to share with you guys. And as I said, I'm trying to keep quiet because it's 9:50 p.m. here at the moment. But I've had a lot of signs which I was going to talk about inside the last video. So I'll try and connect the link into the previous videos and I'll leave them as is. I'm just going to leave the messages there. What I did find in the previous read, which if you haven't seen it, go and have a look. It was pretty interesting because I tuned into the energy and I was guided to talk about it from the perspective of the 3D and then from the 5D. So the intuitive mindset of what directly masculines were in their frequency sense thinking. I didn't really delve into the way the feminines were actually looking at it. And I don't know why, but at the moment the information that is coming through is very much linking in with the masculine energies. But collectively, you will be dealing with these things. Hi, Africa. Welcome. Now, the one synchronistic thing I am seeing, I was asking my guides last time. Not very often do I do this. I tend to get sign synchronicities, see repeat. I wonder if it's wrong. I'm hoping it's not going to cut out or just reconnect. Fingers crossed. Yes. Okay. Fingers crossed. Yes. Okay. So anyway, I was asking for a sign and I saw a figure being made. So anyway, I was asking for a sign and I saw a figure being made on the roof. And directly, I was thinking to myself, this figure looks very familiar. It looks like a bloody horse. What is this? And the first thing that kept coming to my mind was Poseidon. Now, I did a bit of research today, and so uniquely, I was talking to Mark, and I said to him, you cannot make this up. How on earth do these messages come to us? Poseidon is very much linking in with Neptune, okay? And I kept asking myself, what on earth is going on with Neptune? Because really, a lot of the frequency that was coming through in the previous read was delusions, illusions, really those things being stripped back. And what was going on with that? Now, I have been researching, and I will have to do a more informative video later to my findings. Regardless, a lot of what I am seeing is a lot of the astrology playing out in constellations and aspects that are occurring in the next 3 months. The energy that came through in the previous read, again, I have pulled additional cards and I've pulled more cards. Now, what was really playing out with masculines was their deep acknowledgement of a reality of a 3D situation. Uniquely, a lot of things are fallen will come in threads. Now, this is the 3rd video of this series for divine masculines, okay? But it is collective energy and it's what's going on in feminine's minds, and I'll pull clarifiers. When I linked in masculines, okay, but it is collective energy and it's what's going on in feminine's minds, and I'll pull clarifiers. When I linked in with Poseidon and looking at it, obviously there is the energy connected to Neptune, his wife, the process he went through in a spiritual transformation, the energies of linking into people in the connection, or energies and deities, so to speak. Medusa links in with that, and there's a lot of shadow aspects, but there's a lot of mythology. Now, the constellations are placements, connecting in with a lot of astrology playing out between now and March. Also, it's very much linking in that Neptune is going to be retrograde. Not so much Neptune. Let me read up on it. I need to explain this because this is aspecting in the reading. It's really come through. Now, obviously, when the nodes change in March, it's going to be in Gemini. Now, Gemini is very much linking with Mercury, which is our movement, our communication. So once the nodes do change, they're going to be in Gemini and Sagittarius, and that's going to be for 2 years. So it will be almost like a reflective energy over previous movements, the way we dealt with things, the way we communicate, day-to-day movement, technology, infrastructure, things to that degree. Also, at the same time as the nodes occurring, we're going to have Saturn going retrograde in March. Okay, so you find that Mercury is going to be going retrograde in February on the 17th, and it's aspecting both Pisces and Aquarius. Now, when Mars hits, the nodes are then changing into Gemini. We're also then having the energy of Saturn going retrograde into Aquarius. So we're going to get an aspect. We're going to see what it's like for Saturn being back in Aquarius, okay? Because it is governed by both the two energies. It's already obviously Capricorn and Aquarius. Now, the reason it's the sleuth finder. It's very, it's really what we were going through the last 3 years, okay? So a lot of the way we were perceiving things was a lot of internalization, a lot of seeking things. So when we're picking up on Neptune frequency, you know, research Neptune, research Poseidon, okay? And again, I kept hearing a few more terms, and I'm going to mention them. Definitely, obviously, Sally guided me to a reader on YouTube, and I can't remember her name. But there has been a lot of other channels really mentioning this as well, and I have researched it further, and it's connected to a hero's journey. And I know Mark from Intuitive Perceptions has talked about this as well. And again, it is a script very much connecting into Star Wars. So that the characters gain their theme, and it was a spiritual quest, as per se, very similar to a soul, a scarred path journey, and a spiritual journey. Hi, Stefan. Now, with those energies coming through, the Neptunian energy is very much connected to Poseidon, okay? Very much similar to masculine, very much similar to feminines as they go through their awakening. Now, a lot of that is really playing out in their energies and from the cards. And I have pulled, because the cards were so angry, okay? And I'm really feeling that frequency at the moment, in a sense that you are going to be seeing a lot of energies around you, very frustrated, very angry. You might hear more police vehicles. You might hear more arrests. You know, a lot of things like that going on. Other people also, the way they're relating can be very agitated, very aggressive. It is due to the transit. Now, what you do need to understand, and I know when we were going through our retrogrades the last 2 years, and definitely through that Pisces frequency, it's going to bring up reminders from the past, because it will be a very similar energy. Hi, love. So with that similar energy coming through of the Piscean energy, remember back to when you were going through the dark night of the soul, the can be tense situations. So it's almost dragging us back to a particular frequency to see the delusions and seeing things for what they really are. And a lot of what was coming through in this read and in the previous read is the acknowledgement of the reality of 3D situations. Now, there's been a lot of threes and definitely situations playing, and definitely a lot of twos. Now, when I'm saying the threes and the twos, threes in a sense of external energy manipulation, distortion, very much when we have Neptune retrograde at times, especially in that Piscean frequency, it can, it is quite gnarly, okay? It can be gnarly to a point that if we haven't worked on our pain body experiences, and people can't handle certain frequencies because of trigger points and the Aries and Chiron placement, which I have mentioned a few times, but I have actually done the videos for your general, your psychic energies for January, and the main aspects that 2020 is going to give each zodiac sign. So if you haven't looked at those, go and look at them. And they're a good basic resource, which I will give you updates for the moon energies each month, tune into twin flames, do the astrology, etc. For those of you who have been following me, you know what my channel's about, okay? And it's your channel as well. It's energies I utilise to keep myself grounded. Use those to understand and comprehend how this transformation is changing you. What is coming through in their energy is a stark reality of where these toxic energies are coming from. But when you know what something's like, and it's so unique. I knew the bloody Hermit card was going to come up, but it's not from a perspective of no action. It's very much an awareness of a transformation that has already transpired. And it won't matter whether you are in communication, whether you are in no communication, whether you're in a reunion, or you get my gist, okay? This transformation, and it is happening very quick. I also had to look at the aspect of how it was going to play out for you guys, because synchronistically, a lot of patterns, especially with my clientele, and with the way I travelled through my 2018, because I had reunion, the subject matters, how they were going to directly relate to you guys with the astrology versus what my process was last year. And I do feel it is almost like you guys are going to have a fast track energy you're moving through. So I will be feeling the same energies as you, but you guys will have quite a fast-paced, fast-track journey. And you're going to have to keep as grounded as possible moving through that, right? So it's amping up, and I do feel time jumps. I also feel this frequency will. Like I said, I pulled additional cards. I've cleared the deck and I've gone, okay, let's recheck in. The one synchronistic thing that was coming through was both from the intuitive reality of the 3D of the previous read and the way they were perceiving it. In their 5D, the way they were looking at it was exactly the same, okay? So it was very much coming through, and I'll show you, I've kept only these placements. So when it comes to karmic frequency, and as I said, I've pulled additional cards, the karmic, be it they're with karmic energy or not, right? The way the karmic is perceiving them and the way they're saying it, okay, this is masculine energy. If I'm there or if I'm not, if I'm better or if I'm not, it makes no difference. They're having the same frequency. So it's almost like before anything, any aspect of healing, unless you can actually acknowledge, we tend to come through the third eye when we're trying to heal a situation. So there's various stages of separation, all right? So when you go through these stages of healing, it can be the memory, the location, the person, documentation. We have the Capricorn energy playing out, which is still playing out in 2020. And then we'll have the added nodal effect of the there, be it they're not. It's not going to make any difference. The BS has continued. So this can be work, this can be a child, this could be a physical person, it could be the reality and the mindset of the past. It's continuing spiritually. Also, this is causing discord by it not changing. And this is really problematic. This is where they've really hit a snag in the road. And the reason why the Hermit energy, hello, has warm welcome. Where the Hermit energies come through, right? So with this, the reality is sometimes in an experience in the TF journey, you come to it in different ways. And when you do, it's an evolution of your TF journey, right? Because you're growing through each, absolutely no solution. You let go and everything resolves. It's the bizarrest of things. And this is where, in the journey, it is crucial that you learn detachment. The ego and the 3D of the way we've been conditioned has always been we need to do something. 9 times out of 10, it's actually the polar opposite. The experience is telling you, if I don't do something, it's never going to resolve. That really is linked back to your conditioning and your role that you played within your family, okay? They're going through the same paradigm. So the more you detach and understand that this person actually can bring the ego from the situation and acknowledging, even if you haven't seen that person in a transformative state to date, knowing that if that can happen within you, that directly can happen with them, because you reach a pivotal point in situations and tower moments directly are the solutions. And it sounds very unfortunate, but it's so bloody true. Okay, so this discord is essential for this evolution. And that's for both energies. And it could be more than one energy, trust me. The closer into reunion you get, the more karmic frequencies will come at you, okay? But it's you move through that frequency and you ascend and you move through it. Now, the other thing that was coming through, and this is the 3D nature of what's going on, and I'll show you the 5D, how it's directly nurtured. Also, dealing with two energies, living in two worlds, dealing with, and the two energies really that have been playing out in 2019, moving into 2020, with the nodes being in Capricorn and Cancer. Now, this eclipse coming up on the 10th. Like I said, I gave you the other video, which I don't know how many I've done now. So my twin probably thinks I'm always working, but he's always working too. With this energy going on, we're looking at our financial aspects. We're looking at, our work-related dynamics, trying to balance home, trying to balance karmic frequency, the past versus the present, and we're balancing. We're trying to rectify things. That's really what we've been doing. Now, the energy as per se, some of you might be feeling like you can't sleep all of a sudden. Yet again, okay? It's come back again. So if you're finding you're having power naps all of a sudden, it's very natural. It's your spiritual upgrade right through those waves. That's feminine and masculine. But you'll find you're really processing again. You're keying into the matrix and you're feeling the frequency, so you're going to actually stay awake longer. And I mean, 2018, when I was working through all the ascension symptoms and the energy in my TF journey, I was finding, especially in union, I was sleeping more. I could not stay awake, but I was waking up incredibly early and doing a lot of work. Now, it's like I'm back to the ADHD. Yildiz readings 5D. It's like I'm awake at various hours, can't sleep, but that's because we're going through a transformative state. Now, with this is relating to Capricorn, okay? But it's also being in two worlds and knowing that can't stay forever, because when you're seeing twos, there's two energies playing out, hey, the past versus what they're wanting in the present. But to be in duality, you need to decide, okay? No decision is a decision, so therefore not one side balances. So this is sort of where it's at the moment in 3D. So we've got the eclipse in Cancer. We also have Uranus really playing some gnarly kind of moves on us at the moment. And Uranus is a planet where it kind of brings these surprises. So it's been warning us all the way through to the 10th. For me personally, in Perth, Western Australia, we're at the 6th already. So there's these aspects being made, especially with the Capricorn energy. It's about man up, woman up. It's like if you want something, you're going to really have to work at it. But it also makes us crucially, brutally honest with situations. So if there was ever an egoic experience connected to something and you were like, yeah, it feels really comfortable, this is where it really gets uncomfortable, where even if you wanted to go back to an old way of being, you're more harsh and cutting because you need to get things done. There's no luxury for that frequency. It's like to the detriment of your health, so to speak. So you will physically continue to move forward. Now, in this energy, in the 5D of the way they're looking at it, is this requires complete separation. So at a 5D, they feel very detached from the situation. They feel if this is a physical person, it's separation. If they're with them, this is the intent. Okay? This is completely where they're getting to a point, they're really detaching. Also, really taking their power back and knowing that they were made for more than this. Also trying to make a situation better, but really finding that, you know, they had wanted a happy home. They had wanted a happy life. But those things didn't quite play out the way they thought. But now they're moving into the frequency of deservingness, and it's definitely a shift. At the moment, I would say, there is a lot of solar plexus and sacral chakra and deep silence, but the silence isn't in relation to you. Yes, the meditation is connected to that, but it's very much solution finding, because they do have the Hermit card come up in the new deck of God, okay? And I'll get into that part of the reading in a moment. Now, the other in the 5D is they know this can't go on forever, okay? So even though they know this is what they want, they know where they're not going to get it, because it is not matching the frequency of who they are now. So when you do have a spiritual walk-in, it's at first you're holding on, okay? You're holding on spiritually. It's staying very stuck. It's very frightening. With this distortion energy coming through with the astrology, those of you who have been doing a lot of work on themselves for the last 3 years, you'll still do it because they have not done the work on themselves and they won't understand what's going on with themselves. So this is a pretend with a person, really reflecting internally, planning. No, I wouldn't even say planning. I'm not really feeling planning, accepting. It's just an acceptance of what the situation is, especially with this understanding that no matter what they do, it's been the same. It hasn't evolved. Now, their crowning energy is that, well, I hate to break it to you, but it's Mercury is coming, okay? Now, we've got February, Mercury going retrograde. The nodes in March are moving into Mercury, okay? And that is going to be for 2 years. So I'm upgrading all my technology. I'm doing the best I can. Okay, like I said, they do have a lot of solar plexus coming through, right? They also feel with this situation, they're really with the storms. Okay, this is, again, Crown of Thorns, and I keep feeling April. There's going to be a shift as well in April. Regardless, this has been a very long, ongoing issue, and they're not liking it. So let's aspect of the read. Now, I pulled the cards in the new deck, and the energies that came out were very unique. This person's energy connected to masculine does not want this to end. Okay, they got death in reverse. An unfinished situation. Okay, and this is where the Saturn and Pluto conjunction is tying these energies up at a legality level, at a spiritual contract level, and with the nodes being in Cancer, the same situation is playing out. Now, with the Six of Pentacles, this is in reverse. And I'm going to tune into the energy. And I'm hoping if anyone can type to tell me the feed's still working, it's stating it is on my side, so I'm fingers crossing. Now, with this energy, this is where the give and take is out of balance. Okay, this is where the give and take in the situation is out of balance. Now, this card is in reverse. Now, notice the woman on the card is red. The woman on the card is white, and there's a crow on the other woman's shoulder. The woman standing is holding the scales. This is where the give and take, obviously because it's in reverse, this hasn't come to an end, right? This is Death card in reverse. Very stubborn energy. It's Six of Wands in reverse. So the give and take in the situation has not been there. With the red, I do feel that these two energies symbolise a stark reality of who has been there and who hasn't. And it's interesting because some of the planets are making the 8th house aspect. And again, that's very Pluto, right? It's very much to look at the reality of the situation. There is a person, and again, I'm feeling like almost when you see red, it's very lustrous. It's very Eve and Lilith, right? But with the red, it's almost the reality of, gee, I really picked the wrong path. Or this person painted themselves in one light, which I'd say this, never really this, which can be. And I do feel it's two worlds playing out, right? Also, the reality that this masculine is unable to give to two energies. And look what come up in the previous energy. And it is linking in with Capricorn, and the eclipse is happening around the time of the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. It's already really playing out, okay? And at 29 degrees, it does hit that point in March, and that's when the astrology amps up and Saturn goes retrograde into Aquarius. So it's really interesting times coming in the next 2 months. So with this, with the critical degrees in astrology, when a planet is with the critical degrees in astrology, when a planet is quincunxing, what you find is it's literally you've got to make a choice. Uranus is making aspects to that degree, which I mentioned in the previous video, for the next week. Really amping up, right? Knowing you have to pick a path. Which one? Very much in this situation. It's funny because I've noticed the fact that there's one sword upright. Now, this is very much about the fact that spiritually speaking, again, there is a lamb in the stained glass window. Exhausted, it could be more direct problems they're dealing with, potentially even more, but needing to rest to find a resolution because at hand at this point in time, there is no direct solution, okay? And again, this can be a work-related, it can be an emotional energy. It doesn't, the karmic energy, some of you might get stuck at times and say, am I the karmic? Directly speaking, you'll always know if you're a Tia because that person will continuously come back, right? You may get triggered and then look outside of yourself, and that's when you see the number synchronicities. Then you may also reach a point where you don't know why you keep seeing bloody number synchronicities. It's because the alignment is crucial. So if you are still not in believing of this situation, you haven't made peace with it inside yourself, so therefore universe is kicking your ass, okay? It's like you don't believe, check yourself. You don't believe, check yourself. So when you ask yourself, are you the karmic? Yes and no. No from a point of you who know who TF is. Yes from a point while you're triggered in a belief fatigued frequency, knowing that whatever frequency is around them, it has really kicked their ass, okay? They're fatigued, they're resting. But this is a spiritual walk-in. It's where the person physically has evolved beyond what they were previously. So they're moving now into the energy of rest and recuperation, especially since 2020 is a unique energy. I can't say it's quiet. And when I do listen to other readers and they're all peppy, like it's going to be better roses, it's like it's going to be hard work. I'll say that. Now he has moved into King of Swords. This is where he is following his intuition. His energy will ascend. He's going to follow his intuition. This is going to be near the eclipse. Intuitively, they may know these things are going to play out, right? They have their sword. They're intuitively choosing to do things in a certain way. The swords are also cutting to the truth, okay? So when they're looking at this situation, there also is, really, when you look at this card, bad lighting, there's different coloured trees in the background that relate to the elements of the season, which mean with his mind and the fact that the moon's in the background is very much intuitive energy, highly intuitive to the point where they can change their direction and way of dealing with it because they understand this kind of process. So you need to trust the way in which they're dealing with it and just observe. Next point of it. Now I had to turn into this potentially can be feminine energies. Now, bloody lighting. With the Six of Cups, try and get it on a row. Look at the flower and the innocence in seeing it. So I'm really sensing it's the intuition of you and them looking at something from a perspective, okay? And the Mercury energy is playing out. Now, behind the woman, there is a great deal of dark, and it does almost look like an eclipse. It looks like the moon is really shadowed. It's interesting because the first flowers really that stand out is the purity of the white, but you know, and when you look at these cards, different messages come out. Okay, so with the flowers, it's everything in the past is dark. This can be romanticizing and fantasizing about seeing things the way you wanted things, but at the same time, you know, the death lilies and I'm hearing 6 energies. I'm hoping it's going to come back because it drives me crazy when it does this. Thank God for that. I've got to kind of stay back. My crown chakra is really activated, so I mess with technology. Now, they feel as though some of their power has been taken away. So you potentially could be viewing them like, how could they ever become this energy? Okay, King of Wands. They are this energy, but at the moment, it's a tactical response to the direct situation. I mean, feminines, this is really your energy. Really, with the Page of Wands coming through, having a problem, not really having a solution, but looking forward and wondering if this is going to transform. Now, in their energy, they've got the Hermit card when it comes to the connection. Okay? Hermit card, and I mentioned this in Ascension Symptoms. The next energy they have is the Six of Swords. Their intent and the way that they want the both of you to move forward is with the understanding. And, you know, part of you, and this is both sides, masculine and feminine, part of you are feeling the strength and the courage. The other side of you, the shadow aspect is, wow, that's a whole lot of swords. That's a whole lot of BS we've moved away from. But the reality is, moving through this transit, moving through this adversity, this too shall pass, okay? So it's a transformative frequency, and there's a lot of moons coming in through these cards. So again, I do feel it's very much connecting in with the moon phases, and it does feel like there's a tornado in the background. Look at that. And again, I did mention the aspects Neptune's going to be making, but the outcome is the Four of Wands. I can't do anything about it. I'm here. I'm showing up. Best I can do today. I'm getting the internet changed. But again, as I said, when you've got Pisces energy coming through with Neptune and you have your crown chakra activated, you can muck with technology. That's why I'm trying to sit back. Now let's pull additional cards. I've also seen a grasshopper today, okay, and this is a solution coming through. Another thing I have been saying a lot is snake. The other, and that is linking in with October, which I mentioned in the previous video. Outcome. Yeah, this is really ending a cycle here. This is what I'm saying. Okay, this is third-party energy. External influences, people manipulating situations. It can be very trigger-hungry energy, right? That's okay. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to work with it. This person really hasn't put a lot of work into the connection. So this is a karmic energy. You know, really not seeing the worth in this individual. And still it remains. The energy has not changed. There's different levels of worth, okay? It could be a very 3D kind of orientated mindset potentially, and that's not that it's a bad thing, especially if the person's not aware. But at the same time, the divine masculines have evolved, and spiritually speaking, unfortunately, when you are a spiritual energy, you won't be able to hold on to things that aren't meant for you. You will evolve beyond that point. And that's why, you know, you will always know if you are a TF, because that person particularly does tend to come back a lot. The further into the journey you get, and it won't even matter how many years pass, it won't matter. It will not matter. Don't get triggered by time. Definitely tune out of time as a problem. Tune out of the fact that you are seeing 3D versus what is a potentiality, because that really can block your path. But you'll go through these energies. But again, I keep saying threes. This is a frequency that's going to come up, especially with this transit. It's linking with family, very much with the energy of the eclipse. It is ending a cycle completely. So, you know, linking into your astrology with your zodiac read is going to give you an idea as to how it's going to play out. Again, this came through with the private read. Now, one thing I notice is I tend to get messages with cards differently, and certain things will really pop out. Now, this is karmic energy, as I mentioned, and I don't like seek to see it. It was bouncing out with the first read coming through, and it was very aggressive. So with this frequency, on this occasion, the first thing I'm seeing is a very cold eye. Now, it's almost like a complete facade. The energy of what the person shows versus what it is very tactical. And this is, like I said, it's a karmic energy. There's no emotion, it's tactical. This person inside energetically has not done work on themselves. From a manipulation standpoint, yes, they like to actually, and I'm going to pull 3 cards on that. And I feel they're actually asking other people to maybe talk to them, feel sorry for them, manipulate the situation. Could be an ex they're pulling into a situation. It could be divine masculine's ex, not just, you know, because sometimes masculines have a few. Feminine's too, goes both sides. Okay, so this is a previous person being dragged into the situation, male or female. It's also, in a sense, maybe whinging over spilt milk of not having transport. Why has this come to an end? What's going on? Them not being masculine enough. There's a lot of brutality here. But they have pulled other energies into the equation to manipulate the situation. Okay, I'm just saying. That's what's coming through here. And again, this could be a work-related dynamic where, you know, the person directly is not relating to the job. You purge different things in the journey. It's because, and you always, if you guys don't have work right now, right, keep positive. You'll be super, super amazed at how everything is provided for you at an essential level when you're going through your awakening. So you'll tend to have everything you need. Maybe not everything you want, but you'll have just enough to get by. It's because you're directly going through your awakening, and you tend to find that it does move when your energy shifts. And you can, the more work you do on yourself, you will directly attract abundance naturally. It'll just happen at a snap of a hat. Sometimes you even get stuck in types of jobs, and this is for masculines and feminines, to a point where you accelerate your self-worth. And again, it does help you manifest more in. Now, this person is very envious, and this is a huge negative energy. When I say that, it's because when people can't do work on themselves, I can't see it yet, Dale. I'll tune into it in a moment. When people, are in this energy, what you've got to understand is this person, if they haven't done work on themselves, they're a very dangerous person, because they're feeling as they're right. They're feeling this is what they want, and the more angry they get, the more dangerous they become, because they're actually not operating from a rational mind. This is change, and this is what they're not liking. They're not changing the energy. They're not wanting the energy to change. They're not seeing the perspective that this divine masculine has had to pick the pieces up and do a lot of work on themselves. And they don't like the fact that this masculine energy is attempting to shift their frequency. They're not liking it. And it's interesting because you've got 5. You've also got the frequency of 7 coming through, which is, again, financially, intuitively, etc. Now, they've got the 7 of Swords. They're even happy that they know intuitively, be it they're with them or not, that this person wants to be elsewhere. So did you ask me a question, Lola? Very hard. Oh, did I answer it for you? Good. I'm glad. Yeah, they're not happy with this. They're really not happy with it. Okay, any questions while I'm here? And as I think of things that I've been seeing and sensing, I will directly hit you guys with it. Didn't expect to be on this slide, but he's got to wake up really early, so I don't like really being in here that late. I need to move the house around again, or get soundproofing, bubble wrap. Karmic cycle ending. There you go. Wheel of Fortune. I'm telling you, it's a coming. It's a coming. Just really, and that's why with the zodiac signs, I really did suggest that you guys get tourmaline, onyx, your amethyst, psychically protect yourself. Clear your houses, drink water. Well, I have actually thought about doing, I may in the next few days, I've got to see how my schedule goes. I tend to keep away from the news, right? I know that this astrology at the moment is causing a massive shift. So I'm trying to, for my clientele, for YouTube, and for my own energy, what we can't control, I try to tune that off. Obviously in feeds, because I have Facebook, etc. Tonight I did end up looking at a few posts connected to the bushfires, but I've really kept my head out of the news, so to speak. I probably researched Donald Trump, because definitely in the astrology, his astrological chart is making aspects. He's having a nodal return. He was also born during an eclipse, which does tend to make that person's energy super lucky, okay? But they can utilize that frequency for good or bad. Then he's having his nodal return. So especially when you do look at the astrological aspects, linking them with Capricorn, linking them with Cancer, there's lots in society changing. Also, the planets with the conjunction do link back to World War One, World War Two. So these aspects were playing out. And near the nodal change, interestingly enough, you know, the impeachment, etc., and all those other things going on, there are subject matters playing out where, especially with the Gemini energy, right? With the nodal return, what you'll find is you've had that time, right, to do your work. If you've done the work, you're fine. If you haven't, it's a bit of karma coming back. So if that person's energy has transformed enough in their chart and they operate differently, then it bodes well and positively. If it hasn't, it aspects very, very badly. So I'll leave it at that, and you guys can make your minds up. But it will be very unique because Mercury being retrograde, there will be a lot of technology things going on, scientific endeavours. Definitely there are announcements for missions to go to different planets and, you know, space situations going on, which we'll go into that later. But a lot of that is very much astrologically linked. Any questions? I'm telling you, if karmic energies are not coping, their ascension symptoms are going to be off the Richter scale this year. And yes, even karmic energies go through ascension. Because I was noticing last year, people at a collective started to research. People at a collective were feeling frequencies, and that was at a slight level, and that's unique because most people don't experience that. So it is amping up, and yes, other people will be experiencing these dynamics, and they energetically won't be able to move forward effectively if they can't detach. And if they can't detach and be in neutrality, I do feel energetically that people that ascend, be it masculine or feminine, they will have to directly walk away from frequencies. So I'm just saying, if it's healthy and it's a workable dynamic, you do the best you can. But if it's a continuous toxicity, it's not manageable. It's just not. And that's for any human being. It's like a joyride without an outcome. I wouldn't even call it a joyride. And I just looked up and it was 4441. Any questions? Okay. Thanks for the update. Can their wife come through as almost? Yes, and I did have that. I had karmic energy in 2017, 18 coming through my dreams. Yeah, I was like, what are you doing here? Hi. That's interesting. Yes, they can. How come I can feel her when I wake up? You're energetically tuned into each other. So, you know, the more into the energy, and I really test this with my TF, and it's with anyone really. You know, it's our ego that makes us feel that none of us are psychic, and we directly are. It's like any person you directly have had a connection with, you will energetically tap into them. But in a spiritual energy, when you are really, really linked into them, you will feel their vibration, because what it means is your souls are beginning to merge. So you're higher up in the ascension path through that spiritual journey, right? So when you reach a certain point, if you are in separation, that was a very toxic ending to that cricket game. I had to think of the way to kind of put an analogy there because it's never over. When you have that separation, if their energy is toxic, my best advice is breathing the frequency out. So if it feels loving and calm and, you know, acknowledgement of it, that's fine. But if you feel that person has been quite stuck for some time, shifting the energy back onto you is quite healthy. And actually, you know, breathing out, like that's only if you're sensing that frequency is quite stagnant and not moving. And then smudge to yourself. But you will have telepathy. You'll have very, very, it will become stronger and stronger and stronger to the point you'll even know what the subject matter is going to be. So you get a phone call and you know what it's about. So PL, I hope that answers your question. The closer it gets, you will feel like then right next to you, to the communication. Okay, so communication movement ascension is similar. And it's really unique that that's come up because spiritually speaking, especially through TF journey, we will be incredibly stuck if we're compartmentalizing situations, okay? Because spiritually speaking, we're light workers and they come in all shapes and form. And it's our role to be that beacon of light, to be the ascended energy. So tests will come our way if we've got mindsets that is quite, and that's due to our childhood, and it's also each individual has their own belief systems, but it's very important, you'll find, because TF will be quite polar opposite as well as very same. So the triggers and the karmic lessons that come towards us are to have that as an energy, but also to be in allowance of different views, because TF journey is very different. But yeah, all of that is very, but you'll find if you're doing too much on the 5-day, it's because you directly, you've got to be really careful, right? Initially, it does happen quite naturally, but then energetically, if you feel safe with synchronicities, it's because you don't believe that it can occur on the 3-day. So what you're going to come to is a place where you say, thank you for the 5-day. I'll wait for it to connect. Thank you for the 5-day, but I'm ready for the 3-day. But you need to be ready for the 3-day. But if you're only ever having that direct communication there, you need to then shift your energy and your mindset so you can optimize it in the 3-day. That's okay. It's only because I've been through this. And I can't even imagine what universe is going to put me through. I'm just like, hold on. What next? No more. That's okay. Cool. Really? And it's funny because my twin loves Coke. It can also be a sign, Sally, that something's going to come up with that situation. Mm. Well, if they're getting busy with the karmic, it's energetically because that's where they're at. It depends on what wave you are. But again, I'm really feeling an amplification of these things moving. So it's really going to accelerate. But it does depend on what stage of the journey you're in. And when I say that, you can fast track the journey by doing the healing work. The more you heal and detach from a belief system, from a trigger point, the further into your ascension you are, the quicker you're going to get into union. It shouldn't scare you. Sometimes you can tune out of it so it doesn't manifest. So if you're seeing it, acknowledging it, don't acknowledge it and look away. Like, get to a point you go, no problem. You have to detach, like you're not tuning into it. If you tune into it, you can physically manifest it. So if you're seeing it, breathe it out. Breathe it out and disconnect, because yeah, it's really important to detach. And even in reunion, you have to be that. You have to understand they have their own light. You don't own them. They have their own hopes and dreams. They have their own soul path. You then jointly have one too. And that comes from everything. So it's a very different way of having a connection. It's a very respected way of knowing that that person is their own light and you are your own light. And if you do fall back into those frequencies of codependency, it will affect it. So it's a lot of bloody work when you come back. You're like, okay, dealt with that, and you'll find triggers will come in sharp and hard. And because you've learned, you're like checking yourself and you're getting yourself back into alignment. And you just be really honest. The more honest about it you can be, the better. If I find more I detach from him, the more attention I get from other men. Yeah, but that's also a test towards you, Aries, okay? But it's also this energy where it potentially could be you feel maybe they can't evolve or dissolve, but at the very just before reunion or movement in it, you can also attract another TF. And you best be checking, okay? You best be looking because they're not your TF. And they'll be at the same frequency of where your DM is years ago. And you're looking at it and you go, yeah, no. Hi. If you've done all that work, why are you going to be going 20 years down the road again? And that's with any person. It's like, no, thank you. And both of us did do that, because I'd actually been reading to this person, so I knew that the karmic was actually a TF, but not that TF. But how does it energetically make you feel? Does it comfort you to know that that's there? It's because it's almost sometimes when we know the what ifs that are there, it's also detaching from them from a point of view that we don't even keep them there as, look, a friend is a friend, an if is an if, and it's detaching from all the old ifs and just being completely in the energy of where you want to be. Not the past, not the future, in the here and now, letting go of the past and staying present. And not worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow. We do freak out, that's why we check in, but still check in, get grounded, meditate upon it, then proceed forward. But don't allow it to navigate you. Because when you do tend to have that, they can be people that you thought, yeah, maybe, and you've even got to cut those off. But are they, do you remain in contact with them, Sally? You know, is it to the point where it's flattering and it's healthy, right? But only you can answer this. And I'm talking from my own experience perspective of the safety and the knowing, but even knowing they're there, even if there's never any intent, it's still energetically, if they're not your friend, there's absolutely no reason to even talk. That's where I got to. It's like, look, that's just, no, I know you want that from me. I'm not even if I tell you, this can't even be a friendship because this is the way you perceive me and I know you're going to misconstrue what I'm feeling. So I'm just going to do my gardening. No more. And then, yeah, I've got headphones down here. He laughs at me because there I am listening to fucking astrology at 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm sleeping with them and I breathe my neck every day. It's training. They've come to you in a karmic sense to give you training to handle DM. That's all. Any other questions? Thank you for the super chat donation. I really do appreciate it because it does help me get new technology. I mean, I've had this computer for 3 years. It's going to need upgrading. I have downloaded software, packages, marketing tools. You got to pay for the website. It's all these sundries that we have to do on these channels. And my mum's always saying to me, why do you do all the readings free? It's advertising. Yeah, aren't we all? Even me. But always know that if it has been a while and you have been on the journey a while and you've noticed a pattern, they ain't going anywhere. It doesn't matter if years have passed. If this energy is so, yeah, it's so. Okay? Yeah, I think we all are. Anytime, Sally. You take care, love. Anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you, and I hope this gave you guys a bit more insight. As soon as I get more notes and I write everything down, because there's more information, I've just got to recall it, write it down. I'll either put it in the community post or I'll do another reading, okay? And I'll try and keep you guys up to date. Because I do have an appointment for my daughter. I have a video recording for a client. I do need to meditate upon whether I do have time energetically to do this month's months or I have to start recording for next month. So I'm just going to multitask because I'm I'm filling up with the bookings, and it's going to get more energetic. Like I said, if you do want to get a booking in before this crazy cycle even amps up to the hardcore stuff, do it now, because between, I'd say, the 8th onwards, it's gnarly. But use your crystals, drink water. If you're getting triggered, avoid the news. Potentially, I am going to do a extra read that I want to do on YouTube. I haven't worked out how I'm going to do it, whether it be this month or next month, because I do want to actually do a couple of sessions. I might put a PayPal link up, or just suggest donating to a charity, and I'll do 3 questions for an hour, and that money can directly go through to charity for the fires, because, obviously I'm in Australia. I haven't been looking at the news because I don't like getting triggered. I'm in acknowledgement that there's transformations, but I did tonight. And, obviously you do care, you are worried, but there are certain things that are completely out of our control. So what we can do is, like I said, I'll come on YouTube and I'll do a couple of sessions of an hour, answer some questions. And if you have 5, 10, whatever, you can donate directly to the charity or into the PayPal, so I can do that. So I'll come back to you guys later. And again, these things happen to bring us closer together, and that's with anything that's happening on the planet at the moment. It's, what I tend to do, and the way I perceive life, is I plant trees. So the things I do have within my control, any house I've stayed at, I've always planted. We need air, right? Plant trees. Yeah, just detach. Are they in a karmic connection still yet? Are they projecting at you? The funny thing is, the first thing I wanted to pick up is the onyx. Are they, they're still with the karmic, yeah? Are they having a bit? No problem. I'll just wait for the Sabanese to comment. There's always that delay. So are they still with the karmic and they're mentioning it to you? Is that where the conflict's coming from? Yeah, it's just a lot of projection. I mean, it's very difficult because you need to be, at the moment, I'd really just pause for this energy to move. You don't want to be, and that's where the advice was coming through in Braid. It was, understand this situation, this cycle, because the wheel come up, it's like it's got to end, right? Step back while this toxic energy is brewing, okay? Because you're going to get it taken out on. It's got nothing to do with you. It's not your fault. It is what it is. But if that person is coming to terms with the dynamic, they need to see it, experience it, deal with it, and then be in alignment with it. So just step back a little bit, so you're not in the brunt of the mix. You don't want that. Yeah. I was either the friend or the partner. I never bothered with it was like, no, too messy, goodbye, not interested. It just gets too intertwined. Friendship, yeah, but taking it there, it was like, no. But obviously the energy is, I just, no, too messy. It's already messy the way it is. It's like, no. It's TF journey, man. Anyway, love and light. If you're wanting a booking and you want me to psychically tune into your situation, it's very different when it's a private consult. Any of you guys that have been regular clients with me, you can attest to that. So if you want to put a comment as to your experience with a private session underneath, feel free. If you like it, thank you for liking it, because it ends up sharing it and other TFs can get this information. And hopefully they can find our tribe with the supporting people that have been watching me for 3 years. This is my 4th year on YouTube. Say 4, synchronistically. Talk about awakening. And we're in a vibrational 4 year now. How did this happen? Love and life. So you're saying